Hey everybody, it's Bob Smith.
And maybe a little Sister Billy Beth or two, honey.
Okay, we've got 5 viewers. Thank you for tuning in. I have yet to see the live chat, and I'm really excited today. I've got some things to talk about. I woke up this morning and I wanted to do this morning at 4:30, but I had to, do the weekday work thingy. But I'm back home now, and I'm ready to talk to you about activism. There's been a lot of talk about activism. We've had a protest recently, November 5th. It was the ex-Jehovah's Witness community and many non-ex-Jehovah's Witnesses joining in physically and digitally to protest the two-witness rule of Jehovah's Witnesses. Warwick, New York is the headquarters of Jehovah's Witnesses, Watchtower, jw.org. And the organization, in case you're tuning in and you don't really know much about Jehovah's Witnesses, the organization has a lot of problems, serious problems, that don't just affect Jehovah's Witnesses or ex-members. These problems affect you. Yes, you listening in. Why? Here's why. Because Jehovah's Witnesses go door to door, and they stand out in the public at carts, at bus stops. They have their Bible carts, their preacher carts. They go to university campuses, and they come to your front door, and they don't tell you that some of these people that they are sending to your front door are convicted child rapists and pedophiles and child molesters. And if they're not molesters, they are enablers by default. Saying that, I'm sorry if you are an ex-Jehovah's Witness and you have a mother and a sweet grandmother there in the organization, but they are enablers of child sexual abuse, plain and simple. You can hate me for it all you want, but it's a fact. It's a fact. And if they are elders, if you have an elder as a relative, an elder husband, an elder uncle, an elder brother, an elder cousin, whatever the case may be, guess what? Your relative is a pedophile enabler. Elders enforce that two-witness rule. What is the two-witness rule? Basically, in a nutshell, it demands victims of childhood sexual abuse to produce 2 adult eyewitnesses to the crime before they even acknowledge it. And then it is not reported to the police, even if they do have an internal judicial committee, as that what they call it. They treat child abuse as a sin, not as a crime. Okay, so this is the main thing here, is that we're all trying to help children, and we're trying to report these crimes and get the rest of the world to know about these things. Okay? All right, so before we go on, whoa, we've got 10 viewers. Thank you for tuning in. Let's go into the live chat and let's see what we have. We've got Sarah Pettigrew, Denise Hedberg, Southern Boss Lady. We've got Susan Lowell. Did I say Lowell? Lowell? All right. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I appreciate everyone tuning in. Susan Lowell says, enables whether they know about stuff happening or not. They are enablers. Yes. Little old grandmas are enablers in the Jehovah's Witness religion. You know, the ones that knit sweaters and bake apple pies, the little sweet ones. There's a component of evil to them. I'm just going to put it out there. It's evil to be an enabler. Both of them start with E, by the way. Evil enablers. Evil pedophile enablers. And evil doesn't necessarily mean you have to have horns growing or you have to have a pitchfork. Some of the most evil people in the world can be some of the sweetest people you'll ever know. How can I say that? You can say, well, how can evil people be sweet and well loved and liked? Here's an example. Some people make the best of friends. Seriously, if you're not their family, if you're not their family member, that person may treat you like gold. And you can know that person for 20 and 30 years and say, I never, ever, ever would believe that my friend Betty Boo, I'm just making up a name. my friend Betty Boo, I just can't believe Betty Boo is capable of doing this to her own child. Well, guess what? You're not her child. And second of all, you're not a child. You're an adult dealing with this person on an adult level. And you're not inside the family. You're not living with this person. Okay? You only know this person from the outside. And yes, while your experience is valid, to simply base your personal experience with that person and make a whole judgment call as to another person's experience, especially if that is a family member, a child that grew up with this person. You know, the dynamics of parent to child are very different than they are to coworker to coworker or neighbor to neighbor or church friend to church friend. I mean, get with it, get real, you know. And third of all, abusers don't generally tend to advertise what they're doing behind closed doors. They're not going to come to you and say, "Oh, by the way, I've been abusing my child, you know, since like 10 years now." Nobody's going to do that. And this is where we are with the two witness rule. The Jehovah's Witnesses demand 2 adult eyewitnesses to any allegations of child sexual abuse before they acknowledge it. And they still don't want to go to the police. You know, when they tell you that they report these things, they leave off the fact that they report it to their own internal legal watchtower department. So when a Jehovah's Witness tells you, oh yeah, we report these things, they are using a form of sleight of mouth. It is a sleight of mouth deception, where in their mind they can tell themselves, well, I told the truth. We do report. I just didn't tell them that we reported to the legal department only. So you have to be very careful with a Jehovah's Witness and the words that they use, because the language that a Jehovah's Witness speaks isn't just English or whatever language you're talking to them is. There is a sub-language, and that language is very fluid, and it can be manipulated to lie to you, to manipulate you, to manipulate other people, and to basically enable pedophilia. All right, so we've got 12 viewers watching. I want to thank you for tuning in, all of the viewers right now and all of our future viewers. I'm always very happy to have everyone tune in. We've got Helen True Christian, who says the word actors is translated in Greek by hypocrites. Wow, now that's very interesting. You know, I think a lot of these Hollywood actors are nothing but hypocrites and liars. Speaking of that, I know everybody's probably heard about all of this stuff with Hollywood, the child sex abuse that's been coming out, right? And one person after another is being outed left and right. What do you think about that? What do you think about that? You know, it really ties into a lot of the activism that we're doing here as ex-Jehovah's Witnesses. And that's what I want to talk to you about, is how to gauge your activism. How do you know you're effective? You've got ex-JW Joe Blow over here saying, well, I don't like the way you do your activism. It's not very effective. As a matter of fact, it's damaging. Okay. And then you've got Betty Boo over there saying,
Well, I think my form of activism is a lot better than everybody else's because I do A, B, C, and D, and they don't do none of that.
and you have everybody who has an opinion on someone else's work and on their own if they're doing any work. You know, there's more people that criticize and talk about other people's activism than there is people that are actually going out and doing any activism who are then criticizing. And that's another thing. If you're not really doing anything, you really don't have much to work with as far as your credibility is concerned when you go to another person and you say, well, I don't think what you're doing is right. Are you out there demonstrating how it's going to be done better? I mean, if you're just sitting in your easy chair typing on the screen, you're wasting your time and the other person's time. And even if you are out there doing something, how do you know that you're effective? How do you know the other person isn't? So we've got different things here. We've got people that have said that the Warwick protest, which was by the vast apostate army and some other communities, I don't know the names, but it wasn't just one main community. And of course, a lot of people had a lot to say. I watched the live video feeds. I thought they did a great job for what they had to work with. It is a grassroots movement. I don't think there's not one main committee or board that organizes things. Excuse me. Even though there were some people that did take the lead in organizing or somewhat trying to organize the event as best as they could. Number two, you had rain. It was very cold and it was rainy. It was not the best of weather. And you had people coming from all over the world, from all across the United States, from Canada. I think there might have been some people from Europe, the UK, or Great Britain. And if I'm not mistaken, there was a guy from Italy there. So you had a handful of people. I think it was about 50 or 60. Okay. And they were outside of Warwick. They had their banners and their flyers. And the Bethelites over there at Watchtower across the street, the best thing that they could do was turn on the sprinklers. Now imagine it's 46-degree weather, it's pouring rain, it's raining, and you're going to turn on the sprinklers because you're afraid of big bad apostates. All right, let's check in with the live chat. Let's see what people have to say about these things. Let's see. I'm going to refresh my page here. All right, we've got Sarah Pettigrew. She says, "Ha ha, Betty Boo." Hey, that rhymes. All right, we have Helen True Christian. Love to all the way from England. All right, thank you, Helen True Christian. And love back to you in England from the USA. Sarah Pettigrew says, judgmental arseholes. And Denise Hedberg says, hugs to you from Oklahoma, USA. Oklahoma. Do they still have Oklahoma steaks, by the way? You guys ever ate those Oklahoma steaks, the mail order steaks? Those things are good. They're a bit expensive, but they're premium beef. And each steak Comes with its own serial number. Yeah, that's high quality stuff, right? How many times have you eaten a steak with a serial number? I mean, it wasn't stamped on the steak, okay? It just had a certificate, a certificate that you can frame. Yeah. I think it's a really good selling point. It makes the company stand out from other steak companies, mail order steak companies, because you get a fancy, nice premium certificate with a serial number for each steak. That's how high quality that is. But anyway, moving on from that. We've got Helen, True Christian. She says she's going to bed. All right. Well, thanks for tuning in. All right. So anyway, going back to the Warwick protest. All right. We had a handful of people out there. I myself was not able to go there physically, but I think maybe next year I will. But nonetheless, nothing happened. Someone called the police, and the police came and went. That's it. There was nothing. There's nothing going on. It wasn't. I didn't think it was aggressive. I didn't think it was. What does he call it? Aggressive and repressive and whatever the terms. I didn't think there was anything wrong with it. Now, some people said, well, nothing happened. It was ineffective. They just stood out there in the rain. Well, how do you know that? How do you know that? Do you have some numbers to give me? Do you have some stats, some analytics? How are you judging this? You know what I mean? It's easy to judge, but how are you coming on that judgment? And one of the most common things I hear, and you probably hear it too, is, well, you know how the Jehovah's Witnesses have a persecution complex. So anything you do, especially if you crash their kingdom hall, quote unquote crash their kingdom hall, and stand up and tell them about what's going on, you're only going to make them dig in their heels even further, and you're not helping anyone. And usually these people are people who have family that are still in, that come and tell me these things, or that I see tell it to other people. So in one sense, I don't fault you. If you're of that opinion, I don't fault you, because you have a vested interest. You have a big stake here. Okay, you have and I don't mean an Omaha stake. I mean, you have something at stake here. You would love to have your family out and safe away from this cult, right? You would love to have them back in your life. As far as talking to you, they might be shunning to you, and it's a very painful thing to go through. I've gone through it, and so many of us know it. All right. So I want you to know your opinion and your thought and your experience here and where you are, your circumstances are very important. They're absolutely valid. It is an absolutely valid point. Okay. If all of the activism was geared towards getting JWs out. If all of the activism and all of the activists all had the same target audience, you see? And here's where I'm going to shed some light. Not every activist has the same target audience. Not all of us have the same targets. I know that might be surprising, because immediately when you think of activism, people like to think it's for the Jehovah's Witnesses. But what I'm doing on this channel is not for Jehovah's Witnesses. I don't know if there's anybody else that has a different target than Jehovah's Witnesses. I think there are. But what this channel's activism is targeting is the general public. And more specifically, law enforcement and attorneys and all kinds of general public. The general public is the target of this activism here. Couldn't care less about any JW waking up or not. I mean, seriously, if a Jehovah's Witnesses wakes up, if a guy from the Kingdom Hall or a girl from Kingdom Hall watches these videos and they say, oh, you know what, Bob Smith, your videos woke me up. That's icing on the cake. I'm glad, I'm happy, cool, cool. But it isn't the main goal here. The main goal is to reach the general public. Public service announcements. Because Jehovah's Witnesses are adults, except for the children in the organization. The adults there have made their choice already. I'm not going to try to change your mind. I don't have any interest in you changing who you are or what you're doing. The only thing I'm interested in is getting the general public to see what you're doing so that law enforcement can step in and handle it. You don't have to change one bit. You can keep doing your two witness rule if you want. But this channel and so many other activists are getting the general public and law enforcement and attorneys and as many resources and strengths and sides of authority as we can to get you handled. So you can be in prison for all I care with your two witness rule. You can sit in a prison cell next to Big Bubba, who's going to be spooning you while you're reading your Shepherding the Flock book, marinating on your two witness rule. For all I care. You can continue to do that for the rest of your life. All right? So if you're a Jehovah's Witness listening, get yourself out of it. I know you're full of ego and you feel entitled and you're narcissistic. You think everything is going to be about you. You know, Jehovah's Witnesses, they have this never-ending persecution complex. You know, the other day I said, hi, good morning to a Jehovah's Witness, and he ran away screaming persecution. Persecution! Whoa, I just said good morning to you, man. Persecution! A Jehovah's gonna kill you in Armageddon! Persecution! Really? All right, whatever. You know, seriously though, it doesn't matter what you do. The Jehovah's Witnesses that want to be persecuted, it doesn't take much. They need to be persecuted so they can get some brownie points with Elder so-and-so. So they can get up in status, so they can get up on the convention stands or the assembly stands and have a part, so they can have something to talk to with their friends and family, because there's nothing else. Jehovah's Witness life is boring. Okay, so they need a little drama. And you know, if you come along and say Australian Royal Commission, boom, that's all they need. That's all they need. They're gonna run with that. Okay, so you can't win for losing. That's what I'm saying. If you're gonna gauge any kind of activism on whether or not a Jehovah's Witness is going to feel persecuted, then you know you might as well just throw in the towel before you get started. Because I guarantee you, they're already feeling persecuted before you ever came into the picture. So they don't need much to amp that up even more. But what they will do is try to manipulate you emotionally into thinking you don't have any power because of that persecution complex. Yeah. You ever thought about it like that? I have. I've thought about it for a long, long time. A long time. Matter of fact, I've thought about it since I was a kid. Many, 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 many years. Okay. Seriously. So I think we need to take the persecution argument, we need to take it and lay it to the side. Because if you're going to have that in, you may as well not do any activism. And I think that, you know, some people don't really want activism to happen. Unfortunately, you know, for you, you know, your desires are not going to change anything. And you know, usually those people are people that have family in, and they might be faders or hiders or coverts or whatever name you call for people that aren't completely free. You know, they might have to stay in because of kids or marriages. or parents or something like that, and so they naturally, they're not trying to be all out, and they probably feel uncomfortable with you being all out. So yeah, so let's check in. We've got 12 viewers, and we have Lisa Sammy in the live chat. Tell us something we don't know. King of Faders. Hey, what about? And Evil Candy. All right, King of Faders says, even doing nothing is persecution. Leaving the organization is persecution. Yes, yes. It doesn't take much for a Jehovah's Witness to scream persecution. They need to be persecuted, because then they can tell themselves, this is the truth, you see, because I'm getting persecuted. This is the truth. This is Jehovah God's truth, you see, because the police came to our kingdom hall looking for pedophiles. That proves we are the true religion and we are being persecuted. Yeah, narcissists have a persecution complex. Look that up. Google narcissism and Google Robert O'Hare's checklist of psychopathy, and you will see that persecution complex is a mental health problem, and it is something that narcissists have. And you can also see the checklist of the traits of narcissists, including that they're right, that they have the truth, and everyone else is wrong. It's just on an individual basis. It's not an organization that's going around. In that particular case, in mental health, they're looking at individual people. But then, if you gather a bunch of narcissists together, what do you call that? Jehovah's Witnesses or cults. Evil Candy says the public is the target. Yes, the public is the target on this channel. So if you're an ex-Jehovah's Witness or a Jehovah's Witness or whomever, and you feel like the activism on this channel is too aggressive and repressive and regressive. What the heck is regressive? I'm going to Google that right now. I know that people have all these labels and catchphrases for things, but what the heck does any of this stuff mean? All right, let me look up regressive. Becoming less advanced, returning to a former or less developed state. 2, of attacks taking a proportionally greater amount from those on lower incomes. Okay, regressive. Proceeding from effect to cause, from a particular to universal. All right, so for people who are calling certain activism regressive or less advanced or less developed, I'd like to see some more numbers and stats. Anyone can say something doesn't work. Some numbers or some stats to back that up. Okay, and that's where we are today. All right. How to gauge your how to gauge your effectiveness. All right, so here we go. And these principles and this information I'm about to share with you, you can apply to anything, whether it's your job. Yes, you can take these principles and this information to your job tomorrow morning or tonight. Whenever you go back in, you can take this stuff with you. All right, you can take it with you if you are a self-employed business owner. You can take these principles with you and do something now, and when you do, you can take it to the bank, literally. I'm telling you from experience. All right. I'm having a lot of fun with this. I love sharing knowledge. It's a good thing. All right, and you can also take these steps and use these principles in your personal relationships, whether they are romantic or platonic, or whatever you have, business relationships. You can take this and apply this stuff in a lot of different ways. So this isn't just about activism today, about XJW activism. I've customized this for the community because I have a lot of background, personal history with it as well. I'm in it, but I'm also letting you know this doesn't have to stay here like Vegas. You can take this on and run with it as far as you want, okay? Because that's the kind of activism we're doing here on this channel. We're not just having you do this XJW thing. The stuff you're going to be able to get here, you're going to take wherever you can take wherever you want and however you want. And it's it's lasting. That's what effective activism is. It isn't just here today and then gone tomorrow. This stuff, you want to put stuff out that will affect people on a lasting, permanent level, that will benefit them, that will give them value upon value upon value beyond just the XJW activism. And it doesn't have to take a lot of time. You don't have to be, a rocket scientist. Very simple stuff I'm going to share with you that you're going to be able to rock and roll with. All right, so let's take a look. All right, so we looked up regressive, and I'm going to Google aggressive. I want to define these terms here from the dictionary before we move on, because like I said, we all have word salads that we can throw at each other, catchphrases, but what do they really mean? They don't really mean the same thing to everybody. All right, so aggressive. When I think of aggressive, I think of someone with a ski hat, a ski mask, and maybe a gun or a knife going into the Kingdom Hall, hurting people. That's when I think of aggressive activism, or burning a Kingdom Hall down. That's what I think of aggressive activism, or physically, being physically violent with people. What about you? What do you think of when you think about aggressive activism? Think about the pictures that come into your mind. All right, the live chat room says, "Hey, Big Boss."
Hey, honey bear.
Big Boss says progressive insurance. Yeah, that's the progressive kind, but we're talking about the regressive kind and the aggressive kind. Aggressive insurance? Is there such thing as aggressive insurance? Anyway. King of Faders says suppressive activism. Yeah, I think there's a type of suppressive activism. I think it's the people that try to suppress the activists. I think they have a form of activism themselves called suppressive activism. All right, is Lisa Sammy making trouble in the chat room there? Let me take a look. Let me scroll back. Lisa Sammy, are you behaving in there? She keeps saying, "Tell us something we don't know. Tell us something we don't know." Okay. Is this somebody that we know? Yeah, Lisa keeps saying whatever. Okay, let me see. Okay, I'm gonna. Okay, so let's move on. I don't think we're gonna have any more trouble with Lisa. All righty. All righty. So aggressive activism. It says here, I've just Googled it right quick. Ready or likely to attack or confront, characterized by resulting from aggression. Synonyms: hostile, belligerent, bellicose, antagonistic, truculent. Oh, I like that word, truculent. Pursuing one's aims and interests forcefully, sometimes unduly so. Synonyms: assertive, pushy, forceful, vigorous, energetic, dynamic. An aggressive businessman. Okay, all right. Okay, well, you know what? From having read that definition, I think some of the activism that I've seen could be, I really wouldn't call it aggressive. I don't know, the pictures in my head don't, my definition of aggressive isn't assertive. I know the dictionary here has a synonym that says assertive. Being assertive is not the same as being aggressive. I think there's a huge difference there, because you can be assertive and not be violent, or gosh, what am I looking for? What word am I looking for here? It's really interesting to take a look at these words that we're talking and speaking to each other, because we can see that aggressive, according to this dictionary here, the synonyms are assertive, energetic, dynamic. Now, dynamic activism sounds different than aggressive activism. Wouldn't you say? I mean, if people were calling certain ones assertive activists, I think it has a different feel to it, right? So I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if I want to take on that word aggressive activist. I know that I like to confront people. I love toe-to-toe confrontation with certain kinds of people, not with everybody, but with well-deserved folks. I love toe-to-toe confrontations. But it's not with everybody, and with most people, I don't do confrontations. I just rather walk away, let them have their say, and I keep on trucking, uninterrupted and unimpeded. My flow is unimpeded, you know, because there's only a few things in life that really matter, you know, and I can just as easily walk away from a conflict and let that other person have the last word and have their say and keep right on trucking unimpeded with my own life flow. It's okay. I'm not losing anything if the other person has the last word. It doesn't take anything away from me, right? So I don't know. I don't know. What do you guys think? Let's see. Eva Candy, she is losing her blob. 411 Big Boss says, PETA, this is not food, it's violence. All right, well, that's a good point. I'm always feeling guilty when I eat meat, 411 Big Boss. Do you feel guilty when you eat meat? Because I swear every time I eat a meal and there's meat, I'm just sad and I hate myself, but I love it so. Okay, let me just move on. All right. Evil Candy says rape is aggressive. Yes, rape is aggressive. Well, nobody was raped with the Warwick protests, as far as I know. There, everyone seemed very safe, and I feel like, not feel, but actually, my perception of what I saw on the live feeds, the Warwick protest was very respectful. When they went into the Kingdom Hall, all right, they sat there. No one was attacked physically. No one was devalued or demoralized or called names. And with some of this abuse that we've all gone through, I wouldn't fault anybody if they did. I'm not encouraging it, all right? I'm just saying if someone were to do it, I wouldn't judge them. I would not judge them because I could see something, about how difficult of a life they have had. All right. But in this case, in the Warwick protest, come on now. No one was, there was no cursing or screaming or nothing like that. They left when they were asked to leave. Okay. They just didn't run out right away, but they left when they were told your invitation has been revoked. Uh, they made their exit. Each person made their exit. Okay. And when the ladies got up to talk about how they were abused and how one of them was raped as a teenager, and because she was raped, she was the one shunned, and her mother was not allowed to talk to her. That's a terrible thing for a girl to have to go through. That's a terrible thing. This girl was made to feel like she caused her own rape. That is what Jehovah's Witnesses do. So when you talk about regressive and aggressive and all of that, are you looking over the fact of what this organization really is? There is a murder directive. You think the pedophilia cover-ups is the only thing going on? I have a letter, a Watchtower official document in my hands right now that says to hide a serial murderer in Florida. Yes, it is an official document. I've been passing this document around like crazy for the past 8 years. Well, actually, no, I take that back. I have not had this letter for 8 years. I have been passing out information about the Jehovah's Witnesses for 8 years or more, but I think I got this letter maybe in 2014. I know for sure I had it by 2015 because I put it in my resource kit. Anyway, what the letter says, and I've put it on this channel before. I can't remember which video it is. Do any of you guys remember which video I put that murder letter on? But anyway, you can get it from watchtowerdocuments.org. .com, is it? watchtowerdocuments.com or org? watchtowerdocuments.org. You can get it from my resource kit at the on my main channel page. It is on the top right. You can get it, or you can also email me, operationultra2015 @gmail.com. Subject line murder letter, JW murder letter, and I will email you the copy of that. It is an official court document. And what it basically says, it says, first of all, the elders are in a particular congregation in Florida, and they're writing to the society as to what to do with this one brother who is already baptized, and he has confessed to multiple murders. He has killed not just one person. You know, it wasn't like he could say, oh, my wife, my previous wife or girlfriend cheated on me, and I walked in on her, and it was a crime of passion. No, it wasn't just one person. You know, it wasn't like, oh, somebody broke in, and I was trying to protect my wife and kids, so I shot the burglar. It's nothing like that. This is he killed multiple people multiple times. Serial killer. Yes. Yes. And what they got back was the instruction to keep quiet, to keep it confidential, as it could cost him a lot of trouble. Oh, really? And they said, since the Florida law enforcement authorities don't know anything about this, we'll just keep it quiet. However, since you've reported that he smoked some weed, we're going to have to keep an eye on him because he's smoking weed, okay? So this guy, he got punished for smoking weed, but the killings, oh, that's not a big deal. Jehovah will fix that in the new system. Yeah, I'm laughing because it's you know, I really need to be screaming right now, and I can't do that. So once again, these people, these wonderful Jehovah's Witnesses, you don't know who's serial killer out there. And you think it's just one? Google Jehovah's Witness serial killer sometime when you get bored and you want to, find out some truth. Google Jehovah's Witness murder wife. Oh, yeah. I'd had no idea how common Jehovah's Witness wife murderers are. Oh, yeah. Google that sometime. Next Halloween when you want to feel scary, I've got some scary shit for you, excuse my French. Okay? So these people are being sent to your front door. There's a serial killer that was just caught this year, Jehovah's Witness serial killer, Kwahuru Goban. Kwahuru, just Google Jehovah's Witness serial killer. I'm going to Google this right now. Witness serial killer 2017. You're going to see the latest one. Yeah, you're going to see Jehovah's Witness serial killer Kwahuru Goban. I'm going to spell the name for you in case you're just listening and you're not able to Google right now. KW, A as in Adam, U, H as in Harry, U, R as in Richard, U, Kwahuru. I'm sure I'm saying it wrong. Kwahuru. All right. And then the last name, Govan, G as in George, O, B as in Victor, A, N as in Nathan. Govan or Govan. All right. That's this guy's name. And he is a Jehovah's Witness. And he is tied to a long string of very brutal murders. Okay. Now, there isn't a whole lot of info there, but there are some YouTube videos. There are news sites, credible TV station media, main traditional media news sites out there. Okay. This isn't, some sensational shady website that you don't really know if it's credible or not. No, this is mainstream media, okay? All right, everything I'm presenting to you here, you're going to be able to look up on credible sources and sites and libraries, because that's where I hang out at the library. All right, let's take a look into the chat room. We've got 13 people watching. Appreciate you tuning in. Evil Candy says, weed do not make you violent. Nope, it doesn't. Sarah Pettigrew says, trust they would defend Jack the Ripper than make him an elder. Oh, by the way, Sarah, do you know and have you all heard of the Yorkshire Ripper that was dunked with the Jehovah's? When I say dunked, I mean baptized. Yep, 411 Big Boss is the one who sent it. Exactly. Speaking of serial killers, Jehovah's Witnesses don't just hide and protect them. They go out and recruit them. Yes. Jehovah's Witnesses love serial killers. They love them so much they go to the prisons and go in there and get them recruited instead of electrocuted. And then they help them get on parole so they can get them on back on the street and back in your front door. Yeah. Knock, knock, knock. Who is it? Jehovah's Witnesses. Quick, hide your kids. Shit, hide everybody. Call the police. Yeah, that's what you need to do next time they come to your door, because they like to call the police on people that warn them about the pedophilia in their organization. They'll call the police on that, but they won't call the police on the pedophiles. And apparently not the serial murderers or the murderers. I mean, you don't have to be a serial murderer for a Jehovah's Witness to help you and protect you. You know, I mean, they'll be okay if you just hack one person to death. You know, they'll say, wait on Jehovah to fix that. And then they'll invite you home and let you play with their kids. Yeah, all that good stuff. And then, you know, they'll send them out to your front door on a Saturday morning or Christmas morning while you're there with your family, and you see this guy on your front door. He's a Jehovah's Witness. He has a Bible in his hand, you know, nice shirt and tie and a suit. He's smiling, friendly. And you got no clue. Got no clue. So yeah, effective activism. Yeah. Yeah, talking about aggressive. I think if you're going to use these terms, aggressive activism, I mean, you can do what you want, but you need to have some proof. You know, you need to prove that it's not effective. Because I personally don't think aggressive activism is just for the JWs as it is to make public awareness. And why can I say that? Because the Warwick protest had the Canadian version of 60 Minutes there with them at their Kingdom Hall crash. So if it was that dang criminal and aggressive, why would mainstream TV media be up in it? They were in it. They were right outside the Kingdom Hall. They didn't go in, but they were right there at the door with the cam and the boom mic waiting, because they were doing a show. They're going to do a segment on it. And they did a report on it. So if you're over there saying all of this is damaging and it's aggressive and it's criminal and it's bad and it's damaging, well, then how come you can't get off your hindquarters and get the attention of some major media like 60 Minutes and then do your thing? Let's see you do it better. And then come back with some real numbers. Don't come back with feelings. Don't come back with intuition. Don't come back with I think. Don't come back with opinions and guesses, because you've been giving me that all the time. Now I want you to give me some logic. I want some math. I want some formulas. Okay, I want some systems thinking. I want to know about scale. Oh, you don't know what these terms mean? Oh, well, it's time for you to do some research then. And speaking of research, I've got 3 books for everybody to look up. Okay, seriously. If you care anything about this channel, I'm using the guilt trip now, right? I'm gonna use the Jehovah. I'm just kidding. But seriously, you know, I'm a bookworm. What can I say? But seriously, the Personal MBA, Master the Art of Business, Josh Kaufman. We're going to talk about a section called Systems, Organizations, Institutions. All right. Because we are dealing with an organization, and I'm going to show you some ways. When you get this book, you can check it out from your library. You can order it on Amazon. Okay, it's better that you order it, because this is something I refer to. This is a book I'm going to be looking at for the rest of my life. It's just that that powerful. But systems, you know, every organization is a system, every business is a system, every family is a system. You are a system. You have a skin system, you have a respiratory system, okay? So everything in some way, to some extent, you can look at as a system and gain a deeper insight. First of all, you can gain insight into what is happening, what's working with that system, what's not. You can dig for weaknesses. For example, in business, you know, we study our competitors and we're studying their system and to see what they're doing that's working and what they're doing that's not working, which would be their weaknesses. And then we go in and exploit those weaknesses, okay? That's what business is about. I know it sounds ruthless and rough, and it is in many times, but, you know, that's what the business of money making is. Well, activism is the same way, except you're not making physical money, but your currency is awareness, public awareness, right? Correct? And not only just public awareness, but you want the public to take some kind of action, whether you want them to share something or tell their friends and neighbors or to protect their kids next time the JWs come knocking on their door, or you want a police officer to investigate something or to help you with something, or you want an attorney to know about the latest of what's happening with the Jehovah's Witnesses, or whatever the case is, right? So systems, when we're going to talk about systems in this book, this also can help you to understand your personal relationships better, okay? And once again, when you look at your personal relationships from a systems point of view, there might be things that you now see that you could not see before. And you can take those and, you know, use them to your advantage, maybe to have a better relationship, to feel more connected with your family or your friends, right? Or to deal with conflict in a different way, all right? Also, this can help you at work. Once again, once you understand the principles of systems, then it's going to be able to enable you to work differently, okay? And you might be able to produce more in less time, or you might be able to problem solve better, or you might be able to spot problems before they happen better. There's all kinds of ways that this can play out for you when you get these principles and you really marinate and chew on them. Because yes, you're using it in activism, but here you get practical, real hands-on experience that now when you're doing this in activism, you can take this to your job. You can transfer those skills to how you work on your job, or how you work in your business, or how you work with other people. You see? So it's really good stuff. So get the book, The Personal MBA, Master the Art of Business, Josh Kaufman. We're going to be covering that. Last name Kauf as in Frank, M as in Michael, A as in Adam, N as in Nathan. The Personal MBA, Master the Art of Business. And the section I'm going to be on is in the back. It is called Understanding Systems. And I'm going to briefly be touching on this because it's kind of, I think there's a, let's see, 350 to, okay, 430. So about 100 pages, okay? But you have understanding systems, then you have analyzing systems. You're going to learn how to analyze the systems when you go through this book, all right? Basic systems. And you're going to learn how to improve them from this book. So why is this book important? Here's why. Because your activism is only going to take you so far. You're going to have to do some research. You're going to have to, if you're really serious about this, if you're really, really, really serious about this, then you're going to have to do your homework. If you're not doing regular homework on your work and on your activism, if you're not asking yourself questions, hard questions, like, is it really working? How do I know? How do you know what you're doing is effective? How do you know? Because two people emailed you, because 1,000 people emailed you and said, okay, you helped me. All right, that's 1,000 people, but there's 8 million still in there. So compared to 1,000 and 8 million, well, you could say, well, I'm just one person. That's true too. You see where I'm going? You have to start asking yourself the right questions. You have to ask yourself right questions. If you're sitting here and you're content with what you're doing and you're like, yeah, I think I'm pretty good. I got me 3 million people out. 3 million J-Dubs emailed me and I got 10 million subscribers. I'm doing good. I'm doing better than the other person. How do you really know other than from what you're guessing at surface level? Do you have anything else? Well, yeah, this number here, I got 3 million people that I got out. Okay, how long did it take them to come out? For example, not every JW is going to leave the same way. Some of them fade. By default, the faders are not going to be taking polls and answering surveys and broadcasting that they are faders. The whole point of fading and being covert is to hide. Yes, there's some faders online and on the forums, the brave faders. But the faders, by default, you're not going to be able to count in as far as when you're measuring as to how effective your activism is. Okay, so by default, there's going to be a whole host of people that we're not going to know about. And that's called uncertainty in systems, in understanding systems. Uncertainty and the unknown. And basically, what that means is just like life, there is a component to life that is uncertain and unknown. The future is unknown, right? It's uncertain. Now, we can increase the probabilities and odds of of a particular outcome, but nothing's guaranteed. We all know this. This is the scary part of life. And this is what I'm trying to get you to see about activism. There's a component of your activism by default because that's reality. Here's the reality check. It's a painful one. I'm sorry to have to tell you this terrible stuff. But if you're telling other people to be aware of this child abuse stuff and all these terrible things in their organization, then we need to start being aware of the uncertainty and the unknown in the effectiveness of our activism. Okay? There is a part of your activism that you will not know for sure whether it is effective or not, whether it's damaging, whether it's useful, whether it's a waste of time or not. You're just going to have to get used to that. It's called uncertainty in the business world. It's called the unknown for the rest of the world and life. All right. So having said that, there are some ways to check. There are somewhat, they're incomplete because once again, you're not going to ever have a 100% accurate gauge as to how effective your activism is. But you can look at how likely your effectiveness is. Okay, and that's where you begin with understanding systems. This is on page 346, Personal MBA. So later on, whenever you get the book, you can check it out from your local library. Go to WorldCat, WORLDCAT.org, and you plug in your zip code and you put in the title of the book, which is The Personal MBA. The author is Josh Kaufman, Kauf, all right, MAN. And you click the search button, and it's going to show you all the local libraries in your area that would carry that book. And if none of them carry it in your local area, you can do something called an ILL, interlibrary loan. And for less than $5, I think over here it's $2 here in LA. It's $2, and you do an ILL. It's an interlibrary loan, and basically they will contact the closest library that has it, even if it's in another state or in another country. If it's in their system, they will contact that library so that they can borrow that book, and that library will send that book to your local library for you to check out and read. Yeah. Isn't that cool or what? Seriously, people, support your local library. They're cool. All right, let me stop. All right, we've got 14 viewers watching. I want to thank you for tuning in. We've got the live chat. We've got 411 Big Boss. I would be very impressed if one person got 3 million JWs to escape. Yeah, I just threw that number out there. I'm hoping one day. Sarah Pettigrew says, LOL, big up. Evil Candy says, Sarah, the bloke pays his bills with donations. Oh boy, here we go. I don't know too much. Evil Candy says, the public sees protest and do not feel persecuted. Their interest is piqued. Yes, exactly. Exactly. Okay? That's why I decided my target was the general public. And I didn't want to be just another person making another video spreading good information. I mean, there's so many great, talented ex-JWs on YouTube that are making and expressing in the best way that they do it, right? I wanted to be different and weird and strange, but somehow magnetic. It's this weird, like, you can't really wrap your head around it, but at first it's like, what is this? And then you find yourself going back to the video and watching it again, and then you just get pulled in. Before you know it, you're engaged and you're hooked, and you keep going back to the video. Some videos you might watch 2 or 3 times over again, and it's just as funny as it can be, as if it was the first time. And then you start seeing another layer to the videos here, you see, and then you start seeing another layer and another layer, and then it might not hit you right away. You might be just thinking about a video that you watched here a week later. It just might pop in your head. Maybe Sister Smith, honey boo, and you just chuckle, and then you go back and watch the video, and something clicks for you personally that you didn't see before, even though you might have watched that video 3 or 4 times. You see, it's layers to it. And that's what I wanted to do. I wanted it to be something that gives people gold, some kind of, for lack of a better word, some kind of gold, an energy of, or of something that they could use, and that was different, that stood out. And if you noticed, I don't have a lot of subscribers. I mean, there's people that, they might have started last month and they've already got 5,000 subscribers, and they're on down the digital highway. If you notice, I'm not somebody that has a whole lot. I think 300 is a lot for what I'm trying to do, because when you talk about systems thinking here, you don't want to do everything. You only want to do what counts. There's only a few things in business, in systems, and in life that count, that really, really matter. It's called Pareto's principle, the 80-20 principle. And basically what that means is that most of your desired results, approximately 80%, are coming from just a tiny fraction of your efforts, of your resources, of your money, of your talents, of your time. Think about 24 hours. 20% of 24 hours, that's only a handful of hours, 4 or 5 hours maybe. Those are the ones that count for 80% of your day, or 80% of your results. If you have $1,000 that you're going to get paid from your paycheck, let's say your paycheck was $1,000, only 20% of that paycheck is going to be responsible for $800 worth of your results. You only need to spend $200 to get $800 worth of value. So think about that. You need to get, let's say you need to go Christmas shopping for your kids, and you had this $800. That was their Christmas month. Their Christmas. You could get $800 in value of shopping by only spending $200 of the $1,000 that you got. You see what I mean? So this is something that you can apply into everything, even in relationships. Now, with relationships, I will say feeling, intuition, and emotion is very crucial. You want to have the 50-50. You don't want to just be completely logic and rational in a relationship. You're going to lose your soul and your joy. So there's a fuzzy logic to the 80-20 principle. Okay, and then there's an analytical side to it. It's a middle pillar balance. It has the logic as well as the creative. That's the cool thing about the 80-20 principle, is that it's both scientific and artistic. So you don't have to be afraid of it if you're not a very logical person, and you might have been a very feeling-based type of person. You're very creative. This can still work for you. And if you're a number cruncher and you love numbers and stats, this can definitely work for you. Okay? All right. So why are we talking about the 80-20 principle? Because think about it. The Jehovah's Witness organization, 8 million people. Out of those 8 million people, only 20% account for the activity, the active results. Okay, so whatever their situation is financially and legally, well, no, let me not say legally. What word am I looking for? Viably, whatever degree of corporate viability this corporation has at this point, whether they're almost on their last breath or they're still kicking like whoa, wherever they are on that range. Okay, only 20% of those 8 million people are responsible for that. So when they say, oh, we have 8 million members globally, understand that most of those people are probably inactive, fading, secretly fading, or not donating for sure. That's another thing the the organization's kind of having some issues with, is that people are kind of apathetic as far as their wallets are concerned. Their wallets don't seem to be as easily opened these days. All right, so Sarah Pettigrew, you're going? All right, good night. Thanks for coming in here.
Good night, honey boo.
That was my character voice. All right, so we're going to talk about, we're still talking about 80-20. It's 11 watching right now. And thank you for tuning in. We've got 11 viewers. All right. All right, so I was talking about the 80-20. You can apply this even in other ways. For example, if you are a fader, you're someone that's still in, and you're having to go to meetings periodically or whatever, and you're trying to do some kind of activism. Maybe you want to leak some important documents, right, about the child abuse stuff. Maybe you know something and you want to help a kid, you want to help some children, you want to help get the list out. Whatever the case is, you can use this principle, this 80-20 principle, and look around at the power structure. There's only a small percentage of those body of elders that's responsible for the power structure within that congregation. And when you look at things like that, then you can easily spot new patterns that you might not have seen before that can help advance your plans and goals. You see? All right, so understanding systems is basically businesses or organizations like JW.org are complex systems that exist within even more complex systems, markets, industries, and societies. A complex system is a self-perpetuating arrangement of interconnected parts that form a unified whole. In this chapter, you'll learn common elements of all systems. All right, these are the building blocks, the atoms of all systems. So when you go through this, you will have gotten the basic foundation of Watchtower. You see? Now, we're not going to cover all 100 pages of this last part of the book. That's why I'm letting you know about this book, because I want you to do your homework. You know, we would be sitting on this live stream probably until 2020 if I were to go cover everything with you. All right. And basically, you don't want to, I mean, you want to absorb all of these principles that's in this book, but you know, you don't want to consciously be able to recall every single one of them, because there's 250 of them in here. Yeah, it's pretty dang meaty. All right. It's about 248 to be exact. Mental models is what I call them. They're mental models. And while this is a business book, once again, the principles in this can be applied to just about any area in your life. All right, so don't let the title mislead you into thinking that this is only a business book. I find myself applying these principles and these mental models in so many personal and creative ways I can't even begin to explain. All right, cool. So once again, in this chapter, this is chapter 9, page 346. In this chapter, you will learn common elements of all systems, how environmental factors influence the function of systems, all right, and the ever-present nature of uncertainty and change. These two right here, Jehovah's Witnesses just can't deal with. They don't know how to deal with uncertainty, and they don't know how to deal with change. Okay, so you have Gall's Law. I'm going to tell you about this one principle because I told you I'm going to give you something to take away. All right. Gall's Law. Basically, this is what it says. And John Gall, he was a systems theorist. All right. So this is what he says. A complex system that works is invariably found to have evolved from a simple system that worked. So any system that you see that is working, whether it's a grocery store like Vons or HEB or Winn-Dixie or Quick Check, or a corporation like Coca-Cola or GE or Ford, Walmart, Target, JW.org, Watchtower, Christian Congregation of Jehovah's Witnesses, Seventh-day Adventist, Mormon.org, Scientology, you get it? Catholic Church, any system that works is invariably found to have evolved from a simple system that worked. So if there's something that is very complex, you say, well, how are we going to back engineer watchtower.org? How are we going to figure out the organization? Always remember that that system was built on a much simpler system that worked previously. Okay? It was built on a template or a macro. The inverse proposition also appears to be true. A complex system designed from scratch never works and cannot be made to work. You have to start over, beginning with a simple system. Now, isn't that interesting? That's very interesting. How can you take that back to work tomorrow morning or tonight? Understand that you can figure out the company that you're working for. You can figure out the system. You can see it from a systems perspective. This is where you have a broader perspective, a more empowered perspective, because you can see the bigger picture. Now, doesn't that make you that much more valuable as an employee, or that much more valuable as a business? You see? Now, once again, how does this translate to XJW activism? Well, you know now that the Watchtower system, the organization, and all its splinter alter egos come from a simple system that is already known, that's already within the pages of this book, explained to you within the pages of this book on a basic foundational level, okay? I'm not talking about you're going to figure out the details, all right? But right now we're looking at the big picture and the foundation first, okay? So once again, the inverse proposition is also true. A complex system designed from scratch never works. So this is where a lot of people that start their own business, they don't know this stuff, and so they start from scratch and they don't really understand systems, at least the basic principles, to the point where they're trying to figure it out, and why reinvent the wheel basically. So it doesn't have to be rocket science. But basically, that's page 346, once again, understanding systems. So then you have these things like flow and stock, slack, constraints, feedback loops. That's an interesting thing. Autocatalysis, environment, selection tests, uncertainty, change. We talked about that a little bit. Interdependence, counterparty risk, second order effects. Now, this is very interesting here, because second order effects, these things are often unexpected. Now, sometimes you can use things, different mental models, to anticipate second order effects. All right. What do I mean by that? So you have the Australian Royal Commission that had the hearings with the Jehovah's Witnesses, and they dug in their heels and they said, no, we're not changing the two witness rule. All right. And so they were dismissed. And right now the world is waiting to see, what's going to happen further with that. But the second order effects of the Australian Royal Commission, excuse me, I'm going to have to take a drink of water. All right. The second order effects, some of them have already begun, which is a ripple effect throughout all the world. Because after that Australian Royal Commission started with the Jehovah's Witnesses, we had Spain wanting to get the pedophile database over there from the Watchtower branch over there in Spain. And you can look that up in Jehovah's Witness net forum. Just go on Google and in quotation mark put Jehovah's Witness net forum. I forget the exact URL to that forum, but you'll see it's a forum for Jehovah's Witnesses and ex-Jehovah's Witnesses, and they have a lot of posts in there. And you can see, just put in the search box Spain Jehovah's Witness pedophile database, and you can see all of the posts of where Spain is trying to get that list. All this started after the Australian Royal Commission. You have, of course, here in the U.S., we started having more people going to Kingdom Halls and protesting, and then you had the Warwick protest just recently. Okay, so then you had Irwin Zalkin Law Firm, saying that they were going to go after the governing body possibly, and so many other things. You had more victims, and you had more people exiting. You had mass closings of branches and Kingdom Halls all over. Germany alone, I was told there were over 500 Kingdom Halls that have closed in Germany since the Australian Royal Commission alone in Germany. 500. And this is a contact I have, an ex-JW contact in, actually he's in Switzerland, which is very close to Germany, and they speak German there. So Bernd Bochoff, and he has told me that they are in contact with major German news media, Tagesspiegel, and some major reporters there. They want to get all of the American documents translated into German. And by the way, if you know where that 2007 letter was, that body of elder letter that's told the elders to destroy any files on child abuse and child sexual abuse, can you please email me that? We are looking for that letter, and it's so hard for me to find. Operation Ultra 2015 at gmail.com. Okay, Thank you in advance. I really appreciate that. The reason they need that is because they have the German version of it, but I guess the government is questioning it because they're saying it could be a fake because it's not from directly from the American headquarters. So that's why he's asking for the American one. And I thought I had it, but I don't. So if you happen to know anyone, or if you can, get it to me, really appreciate that. All right, so check out that book. It's called Personal MBA, Master of Business, Master the Art of Business. Okay. All right, so let's see. We covered the issues. We covered the audience. All right. Not everybody is targeting JWs. I know that there are activists that are targeting JWs, specifically their family. They want to be able to have something to do with their family again. I totally get it. And it might scare you too, because it might make your family want to be Jehovah's Witness more because someone crashed the Kingdom Hall, and now whatever trust you were building up with them is now gone because now they're shunning you again, and you didn't even do anything, right? It's a legitimate concern. Sorry, I'm so thirsty now. It's a legitimate concern. And I don't know what to tell you on it. It's painful either way. It's painful if we keep silent and we tippy-toe around Jehovah's Witnesses persecution complex. If we all just, became suppressive activists and says, "Oh, okay, let's not rock the boat." The kids are gonna still be molested and beaten, and nobody's helping them. Okay, it's still gonna be painful. Somebody's still gonna be in pain and suffering. And it's painful if somebody if you've been working so hard for the past 3 years to build some kind of relationship with your mother or your father, for example, and although they're not completely, unshunning you, maybe they've visited you without the rest of the Jehovah's Witnesses knowing, right? They might have come over, or they might have let you call and talk to them for an hour or two. And maybe they even came on your Facebook, and you're so happy now because there's a glimmer of hope, right? And maybe you kind of started talking about the news, and kind of asked them if they knew about some of the things that was going on in the news, trying to see and feel them out, if you could tell them about the Australian Royal Commission. And someone crashed their Kingdom Hall, and boom, they dug in their heels, and now you are shunned for good. It's done, it's over with, and all your hard work is just gone because of these aggressive activists, right? I totally get it. But, which would you rather have? You being shunned, or none of those kids that's being molested now being helped? Let them continue to be molested. Let's just all, keep quiet. Let's not rock the boat. All right, I'm going to leave you with that thought. I'm going to take a break. We have 9 viewers watching. Want to thank you for tuning in. Let's see. Where's my playlist at? I don't know if this is the kind of music I want to play. Oh, wait a minute. This is what I want right here. All right. Oh my goodness. Where's my speaker at? All right. I'm going to take a break, everyone. As soon as my music comes on. This thing never wants to act right. I don't know what's going on. Here we go. I'll be back.
I'm not gonna hear no booty music. I don't know what kind of crap this was playing on over here, honey. What is this crap here? Ain't nothing but worldly books up in here. I'm tired of these worldly books. You need to go to the JW site, boo. What kind of worldly crap is that?
Get out of here, Sister Smith. All right, I'm back. All right, we've got 7 viewers watching. I want to thank you for tuning in. Let's see who we still have in the live chat. All right. Excuse me. We have 411 Big Boss. Excuse me. And he says, what is the title of the book again? All right. The title of the book is The Personal MBA, Master the Art of Business. And it is by Josh Kaufman. Kauf as in Frank, M as in money, A as in Adam, N as in no. And then we were on page, it's in the back section under the section of Understanding Systems, Chapter 9. And you're going to want to go through Analyzing Systems, Improving Systems. Those are the 3 major things you're going to be able to do. And now check this out. I want you to close your eyes for a minute if you can. Now, if you're driving, just ignore this. But later on, if you get some time, I'm very serious about this. I want you to close your eyes, okay? Just kind of relax. And I want you to touch the upper part of the back of your head. Back there where the crown area is, you know how like in the Jewish culture, the men have something called a kibbutz back there. It's like a cap, a dome cap. They call it a kibbutz, I believe. Right there in that area, I want you to take the tip of your hand and touch that area, and then lift your hand a little bit further away, a little distance, maybe 3 or 4 inches away. And right in that area, while your eyes are closed, I want you to imagine a tangerine, okay? And focus yourself, focus your awareness to the back of your head in that area for a couple of seconds. And then, still with your eyes closed, imagine yourself standing over yourself, sitting there at your computer or with your cell phone, wherever you are, looking over. Like, imagine yourself taller and more expanded. You know how, like, in Super Mario's, when you played Super Mario Brothers, and you got that mushroom, and you all of a sudden became a giant Mario. So imagine yourself standing over yourself, looking at the back of your head, and looking down at yourself, looking at the cell phone or at the. Stay there for a minute. You might start feeling your shoulders a little more relaxed, and you might feel a little different. So when you open your eyes and you look down on the page of a book, when you get this book, I want you to stare down the center of this book while still keeping your focus as best as you can to the back of your head. What's going to happen is most likely the pages of the book are going to blur together. That's fine. That's perfect. If the pages of the book don't blur together, it's still perfect. You can't lose with this, okay? All right. And I want you to turn the book upside down. Yes. The whole point is not to read it. I don't want you to read this book with this particular method. Okay? If you're still trying to read it when I'm telling you right now with this little technique, then okay, fine, but you're making it harder than it has to be. All right? I want you to stare down the center of that book while it's upside down, and you're still looking over your head, looking over the book. You feel yourself expanded, your peripheral vision. You're becoming aware of the surroundings in the room or in the area where you're at. Okay, so you're not just taking in the book, but now you're also aware of maybe the desk, or if you're in your bedroom, the bed next to you, you're aware of the periphery as well. And this is where the vision might become very soft and blurry. That's excellent. Like I said, if it's not blurry, it's fine. And then you're just going to turn the pages of the book. I'm doing it as I'm explaining it to you. And what you want to do here is just relax. You're not trying to read it right now. You just want to absorb it. This is perfect for people who have a learning different ability. I won't say disability because I don't think that category is quite accurate. There are people that just learn differently. Okay, they learn differently and the traditional methods don't work. This is perfect for people who don't like to read. Okay, I have a couple of friends, they're quite the opposite of me. They don't like books necessarily. They don't really want to read too much. Matter of fact, the less they have to read, the better. They like pictures. So this is perfect for people like this, as well as people who do like to read like me, because you're absorbing the information on an implicit level. What does that mean? Basically, I'm showing you how to get it into your bones. Yeah. So you're not just able to parrot something on a test, where you can answer every single specific question on a test, and afterwards you forget everything when you walk out the door. No, this isn't that kind. This helps you get it in your bones. So you can do this with any reading material, but when you get this book, do this periodically. And once again, the whole point isn't to read it. You're just absorbing it. That's it. You're just absorbing it. And then later on, you can dig out pieces, all right? Because each mental model, each principle is like a paragraph long. So when you get this book, like on page 48, 348, it has the section on flow, okay? So flow is nothing but like a paragraph. It's actually 3 paragraphs, but the sentences are like 1 or 2 sentence paragraphs. He formats it to where it's easy to read. It's not like a dry textbook that is going to be not mind-numbingly boring. It's not like that. Okay, so you can take one principle a day and just kind of chew on it, and just kind of look around at yourself, how you can apply it. And you can look for certain principles. Like I'll tell you, feedback loop. If you're doing activism and you're serious about it, check out page 352, feedback loop. Okay, systems of information feedback control are fundamental to all life and human endeavor. Everything we do as individuals, as industry, or as a society is done in the context of an information feedback system. We are part of the Jehovah, JW, feedback loop. Okay? They can't get rid of us. We're at the door with them. We're right there on Google. Everybody has a cell phone. We're right there. Feedback loop. Check that out. Page 352. All right. And that's only a page and a half long. And he even bolds like certain specific key terms in there, keywords that you can chew on and marinate on. It's not hard. It's not hard. I'm telling you. This is simple. You don't have to make it complex, and it's really, really eye-opening as far as your activism is concerned, because the next time somebody comes to you and says what you're doing is wrong or what you're doing is not effective, you can quietly, or not so quietly, just laugh. You can just laugh it off and know what you know. Okay, and you can move on unimpeded and let that person have their say, because it's not worth your time to even argue with the person that hasn't even done their homework and doesn't have the slightest clue about things like systems, understanding systems. So there's that book. Okay, another one we have that I highly recommend. Once again, don't let the title of this book fool you. It's not just for investing. This can be applied to personal relationships. These principles, they tie in with what I just told you about personal MBA. And I'd say about 40% of this book is a different, it connects with what's in the personal MBA. Okay, so when you go through one of these, you will have gotten a large part of some of these other ones. Now, I'm not telling you it's a repeat, because it's not a repeat by no means. Okay, it's well worth taking the time to actually get into this book. But it's called Investing: The Last Liberal Art by Robert Hagstrom. H as in Harry, A as in Adam, G as in George, S as in Sam, T as in Timothy, R as in Richard, O as in Otis, M as in Michael. Robert Hagstrom, Investing: The Last Liberal Art. Once again, don't let the title fool you. I use this in all kinds of ways, because if you think about it, you are investing your time and attention into this live stream right now. You could be doing something else, right? And so in that sense, you can look at everything in life as a form of investment. When you eat your next meal, depending on how healthy you eat, that is an investment in your health. And it also can be an investment in your finances, because if you eat unhealthy food long enough, you're going to get sick, and then you're going to definitely have some high medical bills. And with the state of insurance that we're in, don't get us started, right? Okay. But you see where we're going here with that is that an investment in your health, your next meal, every meal that you eat is a form of investment when you think about it. Investment in your health and in your well-being. So the principles in here, the reason why I'm recommending this book to you is because it ties in the principles of psychology, philosophy, physics, biology, literature, sociology together in such a way, in very simple ways too. That you don't have to know psychology, you don't have to know biology, and start like, oh my God, is he gonna have me like do chemical equations and all of this now? No, no, forget it. I'm trying to save you a lot of time because even though I love reading a lot of books, I don't like to waste time. I like to do only 20% that I need to do to get the 80% results and then kind of wing the rest, right? All right, anyway, investing, the last liberal art. Why are these things important? Because, look, to the man with a hammer, the world looks like a nail. If that's the only principle he knows, the only way how to operate, he's going to use that hammer to fix everything. Okay, and sometimes you don't want a hammer to fix something. Sometimes you need some other things. All right, so when you're dealing with Jehovah's Witnesses, they're kind of like the guy that has the hammer. They only have their way of dealing with things, and it's impossible for them to go outside their bubble. Well, this is how you can outthink them, and you can outthink a lot of other people at that, because a lot of people are inside bubbles. We all tend to be in our own bubble between our ears. Excuse me. It's a human tendency we have to contend with on a daily, hourly basis. And we all tend to slip up, probably more than we'd like to admit. Okay, so this shows you the principles of the basics of these subjects and how they interrelate to help you make better investing decisions. So if you're somebody who has money and who can invest, this is also a good book. But like I said, you are investing your time and energy into your activism. You might be even investing money. Okay, so why would you not want to get the most out of it? You see, would you welcome being able to get more from less? I know I would, right? If I only had to spend $200 to get if I only had to spend $200 to get an $800 laptop, for example, at Best Buy, wouldn't that be a good deal? So I'm gonna grab this book over here. Remind me to talk about the 80-20 principle. It's another book. It's called The Secret to Achieving More with Less. Richard Koch, K-O-C as in Charlie, H as in Harry. The 80-20 principle. Okay, and it's basically finding legitimate shortcuts. Not the scammy stuff. Okay, you want to be above board and legitimate. You don't have to be scammy, but it's finding legitimate shortcuts in any situation, making the most of those few lucky streaks when you are at your creative peak. Calm down, work less, and identify your few most valuable goals. This is the key to effective activism, okay? Because like we said earlier, there is a measure of uncertainty and unknown in any given system, in any given project, in any given life. That's reality, right? But you can pare down where your most potent stuff is, where your most valuable goals are, and you can focus on the things that you excel at and enjoy, the things that are working, and you can cut out the stuff that isn't working, and you can know it for sure, not based on a feeling, not based on what your friends around you are telling you, because your friends can be the best liars. They love you, they care about you, they don't want to hurt your feelings. It's hard for them to really tell you what you need to know, and you've got people that don't like you, that might take it overboard. They embellish, because they don't like you. So then they might end up being having a bias. But somewhere in between there, you can find maybe the grain of truth. And that might not be all that easy to swallow sometimes if you don't have a way to kind of measure and check yourself, So 80-20. So back to the original example I gave earlier, when I mentioned the person that had gotten 3 million JWs out. And I'm just pulling that out of the sky. I know it's a large number, but you know, a lot of people come on YouTube and they want lots of subscribers, they want lots of followers, they want lots of viewers. And while that's wonderful, I'm very appreciative of you and every single viewer and subscriber and visitor. I really am. However, it's not something that I am expecting or something that necessarily indicates success or effectiveness. I don't look at those numbers that way. It needs to be a broader perspective. There needs to be more to define that, because anyone can have subscribers, but what are they doing beyond clicking like or clicking subscribe? Does it mean that they're watching? Okay, let's look at the views. Let's say you got 3 million views. Okay, have they done anything beyond just watch? Well, I've got 3 million shares with those 3 million views. Okay, they shared it on their Facebook or on their Twitter. Okay, but then what happened after that? You see? So, the things that sometimes people use as checks and gauges um, could use a little improvement, maybe? Anyway, investing the last liberal art. I want to read you something out of this here, if I can find it. All right, here. On page 9 of that book, it says, one thing that history teaches us is that no great idea ever originated in a vacuum, arriving whole and complete in the mind of man in one instant flash. Rather, each thought, each discovery, each invention builds on countless earlier ideas. So basically, it's saying there's really nothing new. Don't try to reinvent the wheel. There's a lot of stuff that's already been figured out for you. You just got to go get it now and do your homework and reach for it. And you don't have to know everything. Oh, yeah, by the way, there's something here in the personal MBA that I really like when he says that. Something to the effect of what I just told you here. Okay. Now, it says here, where is this at? Oh, yeah, here it is. On page 2, I'm back in the personal MBA. Can you tell I like that book? I love that book. The Personal MBA, Master the Art of Business. I'm back on page 2 here. It says you don't need to know it all. This is basically also applies to the investing, the last liberal art. These books are all from a particular book list, from a Charlie Munger mental model book list, so they all tie in together. These all go well, they complement, and like I said, if you get into one, you're going to so totally be able to get into the next book, into the next book, into the next book. So, but anyway, you don't really need to know it all, okay? Once again, if you're not a book person, you're not a reading person, you don't really look. I'm not asking you to start changing, okay? You don't need to know it all. You just need a few things here and there, and customize it to your own particular situation, your own particular projects, your own particular activism, and you can run with it. You don't have to make it complex and hard on yourself. It doesn't have to be that way. It could be easy, simple, and quick, okay? One of the beautiful things about learning any subject is the fact that you don't need to know everything, all right? You only need to understand a few critically important concepts that provide most of the value. Once you have a solid scaffold of core principles to work from, building upon your knowledge and making progress becomes much easier, and it builds on itself, and it just starts becoming easier and easier and easier for you. Okay, so no big deal. Just relax, and have fun with this. Um, no experience necessary. Let's see. To improve, let me see. There was something I wanted to show you. Maybe I'm not finding it now. I guess I'm not finding it. Okay, well, I didn't find the one that I had in mind, but this one's cool too. This is on page 14. So I'm reading a quote to you from. I'm reading a quote to you from Charlie Munger. All right, and he's a big time billionaire, Hathaway in Berkshire or something like that. But like nobody hardly knows of him because he's not out there flashing it, right? So um, the secret to his success is a systematic way of understanding how businesses actually work, and we can apply the word business to relationships or systems, okay, or organizations like JW.org, okay. Even though he never formally studied business, so that's for all of you that have never gone to college and feel like, okay, this is above my head. Check this out. This guy has never even studied business, okay, and he's a billionaire, multi-billionaire. His relentless self-education. This is the key here. You got to do your homework if you're really going to do this right. If you're really serious about this, this has to be ongoing, lifelong learning. Put yourself on a schedule, even if you have to do it 1 day a week. But this is necessary. If you don't really do your homework, how do you know you're effective in anything in your life? How do you know you're not just spinning your wheels, or you're on those little gerbil wheels? You know what those gerbils, when they run on the little, the wheels I'm talking? Okay, anyway. Even all right, so his relentless self-education in a wide variety of subjects allowed him to construct what he called a lattice work of mental models, which he then applied to making business decisions. So this is his quote. He says, "I've long believed that a certain system, which almost any intelligent person can learn, works way better than the systems most people use to understand the world. What you need is a lattice work of mental models in your head. And with that system, things gradually fit together in a way that enhances cognition. Just as multiple factors shape every system, multiple mental models from a variety of disciplines are necessary to understand that system." So, in order for you to completely and more accurately understand your own activism, because that's a system too, by the way. You might not you might not have a set system. You might be like, well, I'll just do like something here or there whenever I have time. But over time, there is a pattern that is unique to you. And that is considered, you can look at that as a system. There are cycles to you in your behavior and your thoughts. Yes, we all have that, even if we don't know it. Check out your YouTube analytics. If you have YouTube, go in your analytics. You're going to see patterns. Look at the keywords people are searching. All right, so everything is interrelated. It says here, just as multiple factors shape every system, multiple mental models from a variety of disciplines are necessary to understand that system. You have to realize the truth of biologist Julian Huxley's idea that life is just one damn relatedness after another. And isn't that true? Life is just one damn relatedness after another. So you must have all the models, and you must see the relatedness and the effects of the relatedness, or from the relatedness. It's kind of fun to sit here and outthink people who are way smarter than you, because you've trained yourself to be more objective and more multidisciplinary. Furthermore, there is a lot of money in it, as I can testify from my own personal experience. So you can take this to the bank, literally. And from my own personal experience, I'm not a billionaire, nowhere near it, okay? Nowhere near it, okay? But I will say this. It's helped me improve my own financial situation. A long time ago, back in the Jehovah Witness day, my bank account was always overdrawn, and not because I was broke. I just didn't really know how to handle money. And later on, I was broke when I left the Jehovah's Witness as a kid. A lot of us, we do end up with nothing, no family, and it's really hard out there. So you don't have a lot of funds. But in any case, This stuff is something you can take and translate beyond your activism. So when you're working this stuff into your activism, know and understand that now you've got some real hands-on experience in working these mental models and these principles into your projects and into your activism. You know it's that much more effective, all right, given with what you've got to work with. And not only that, but you've got some economically viable skills and talents that you're developing over and over and over through your activism work. Isn't that cool or what? So yeah, check that book out. Check out Investing the Last Liberal Art. And let's see. Seeking Wisdom from Darwin to Munger. This is the third book. And it's by Peter Bevelin, B as in boy, E as in Eric, V as in Victor, E as in Eric, L as in Larry, I as in Ivan, N as in Noah. Peter Bevelin, From Darwin to Munger, Seeking Wisdom. Now, if you're a Jehovah's Witness listening or somebody who's religious, please don't freak out because you've heard the word Darwin. This is not a book about evolution. Okay? It's not about evolution, all right? However, it does take the principles of Darwin's theory, and I want to stress it is a theory, okay? It is a theory. It is a principle. It takes the theory of evolution of Darwin and the patterns that he described and the principles, and it finds correspondences in economies and in the behavior of financial, behavioral finance. That's what I'm looking for. Behavioral finance. Basically, it is the psychology of people buying and selling, and it can reach all the way into the personal development area, where you have books that help you to budget and save money, and that help you to figure out why you're overspending, because there's a lot of psychological component to it, stress, or some people are addicted to shopping, and all kinds of things, all the way up to the stock market, and how there are patterns of evolution that correspond to patterns in the stock market, which people have used to make money. So yeah, kind of fun stuff, right? Okay, now this book here, it has a lot of things that I really appreciate, and I think that you can use in activism for sure. I've been using this in my activism. Will continue to use it. This is a book well worth paying for. All these books is well worth buying and having them physically in your hand. But if you don't want to spend the money, you can go to your local library, and you can go online to WorldCat, WORLDCAT.org. Plug in your zip code and the title of the book that you want to check out, and you will find it. You will find all the local libraries in your area that carry the book. If they don't carry it, you can do an ILL, interlibrary loan. I think it's less than $5, and then you can ask to have the closest library. It might be in another state or in another country. Your library will contact that library and request the book to be sent, to be checked out for a small fee, and then you'll be able to read it and check it out. But anyway, like I said, it's well worth buying. It basically, I'll read you the parts of it first. What influences our thinking? Why are we talking about thinking? Because in the cult, there's a certain wiring of your brain or your mentality there, right? We all know this. There's a mindset that you are dealing with Jehovah's Witnesses, and simply because you leave, maybe physically, you don't go to the Kingdom Hall anymore, and you might not have gone for 10, 20 years anymore, doesn't mean you're not still affected. Okay. Why am I saying this? Because the Jehovah's Witnesses, we all as human beings tend to have certain kinds of tendencies that no longer work for us. Basically, if you take the theory of evolution, and you see that the survival of the fittest. I guess that's the term, survival of the fittest, where he says that the goal was to eat, breathe, and survive. So you had this fight or flight development of the brain. We didn't have the prefrontal cortex at the time, supposedly. I don't know if any of this is true. Like I said, it's still a theory. But basically, what helped us to survive back, way, way, way back in prehistoric times as humans, that what helped us to eat, breathe, and survive and reproduce, a lot of that now is damaging. Okay, so we have a prefrontal cortex that lets us override that automated reaction sometimes, hopefully. And we all have these tendencies, okay, like emotional based decision making. That happens a lot, right? And how many times have we regretted if we've made a decision just solely based on emotion sometimes? Sometimes it can work out, right? But it can be a problem, right? I mean, especially if you're, let's say you're at Target, you're Christmas shopping, and you've got a budget, right? And the salesman, he's real nice, and you like him, and he's a real nice guy, and yeah, and you know he really knows how to talk smooth. And all of a sudden, your $800 Christmas shopping budget for the kids now has turned into $2,000 or $3,000. And that's way, you had to make a new credit, but you know at the time you just it seemed like a good idea, right? So emotional decision making can hurt you. It can hurt you, okay? But there's so many other ways, that can be applied. So it has a theory as to why we think the way we think, right? But whether you believe that part or not, you can skip it if you want to and go right to the psychology of misjudgments. And so you have a psychological perspective. So here is why the last liberal art, has a section on psychology, because this is where the patterns of psychology come in. They correspond to the patterns of the theory of evolution. They correspond to the patterns of biological development in nature. They correspond to physics, the mathematics of misjudgments. Yes, there is a physics and mathematics of misjudgments. And before you start freaking out, saying, "Oh no, I'm done because I don't know math. I'm no good at math." Trust me, you don't have to do any math. Okay? There's a few numbers in there, okay? I'm not gonna lie. There's a couple of numbers in there, but no, seriously. And you can skip over that section, Just kind of absorb it, just kind of let your eyes glide over it. You'll get it. You'll get it. Don't worry. Anyway. All right. We've got 8 viewers watching. Thank you for listening and tuning in. I really appreciate you tuning in. Let me see who's in the live chat. Hey, Trisha, how you doing? We've got Trisha up in here. Trisha, I want to thank you for coming and visiting the channel here, and I want to thank you for everything that you're doing with that $66 million class action lawsuit in Canada. And, I hope that you and everyone there gets justice, very swiftly, and gets as much justice as you can. I mean, any kind of lawsuit is not going to be any comparison to what these victims and survivors have lost and have gone through and will never get back. But I do hope for the most and the best for you and everyone. And I think it's so brave what you're doing, and I really enjoyed watching you and everyone there doing the activism. All right, we've got Mott Floyd, Southern Boss Lady, 411 Big Boss. And we have 8 people watching. Thank you for watching. Okay, let's get back to what I was saying here. Psychology, the same patterns of psychology correspond to the patterns in literature, sociology, philosophy, physics, guidelines to better thinking. All right, I know this sounds like a lot of stuff, but listen, you don't have to get it all in one day. Seriously, this is lifetime learning right here. These principles right here are going to save you so much unnecessary time, energy, and money wasted, and nerves. Okay, you know it's about to get crazy. It's the holiday season. You know it's gonna get crazy. XJW world. All these jingle bell things, jingle bells, and you're getting triggered. You're in Target trying to go, trying to do some shopping, and you're getting triggered left and right. And you see the Christmas trees, and then you smell the good food, and you see families Christmas shopping, and then you're like, because your family's not talking to you anymore, right? You know how it is. It's gonna get psycho. So get these books. Look, a book is better than nothing, right? I mean, your family's not gonna. You don't have your Jehovah's Witness dad is an elder. He's not gonna talk to you, okay? So just take this book and imagine the book is your dad, okay?
What, honey? Imagine the book is my dad? You crazy, man. I ain't gonna imagine that. Get these worldly books out of here, honey.
All right, we have 7 viewers watching, and let's see who's in the live chat. I'm gonna refresh my live chat because 411 Big Boss says was it a mix of believers and non-believers that showed up, or was it mostly believers? So believers, what are we talking about? Believers that showed up and non-believers that showed up to Warwick? And what are they believing in? What are they believing in? Mental models? I didn't know you really don't have to believe in mental models. You just try them out. You don't really have to believe them. I don't think it's really about belief. It's more like, implementing. Beliefs only get you so far, but when you're implementing something, then it's real life. You're living it, right? Okay. All right. The next part is about gauging. Oh, I think I've covered everything. Really? I guess I did. Oh, I wanted to talk to you about some activism, different types of ways to do activism. Okay, I know people are doing Kingdom Hall crashes, and I know people are they're calling different Kingdom Halls in different places. I know people are talking to the people at the carts when they're out and about. And people are doing videos in YouTube like this one here. And there's quite a few XJWs on Twitter too. And I don't know, there's Gilbert Gonzalez. He's doing postcards, so he's also doing direct mail. And he's doing a mix of all kinds of different things. And that's really what I wanted to mention is that, there are different ways to do activism. You don't have to get stuck on just one way to do things. And when you're checking these things out, like, for example, email activism. Email is a really great way to reach a lot of people in a very short period of time and in a very convenient way. There's not a lot of work to be done to it. Excuse me. What you can do is write a template, and you can pre-write your message before you copy and paste it into the email, and then you customize it to the person's name, like John Smith or Betty Smith, dear Betty Smith, right? And you make sure you put that person's name, so you customize it, and then you can have a folder on your computer where you have all of the things that you usually want to attach. And from there, you can get different kinds of programs that help you find specific email addresses of people or organizations, like a program called emailhunter.co. And that is a little app that you can put on your Chrome browser, and you can go on almost any website and find all of the emails that are linked to that company or that business or that organization. And it's a really great way to reach government officials. It's a great way to reach law enforcement. It's a great way to skip over the automated number maze that a lot of customer service lines have when there's a problem with your product or service, and they have these automated mazes that you can never get a live person to, or maybe you get someone in a different country that's reading off of a script. Well, with this, it lets you get all of the email addresses associated in the organization. And sometimes you can get lucky and it'll even tell you this is the CEO or this is the manager of customer service or whatever the titles are. Okay. This also works really great if you're looking for a job or a career change, by the way, or if you're looking for new prospects and you might not have the funds right now to do a $3,000 advertising campaign. It's a little tedious this way, but you can still, if you're a one-man show and you don't really have a whole lot of employees or overhead, and you don't need a whole lot of clients, you know, you can do good with this. So this is this is a good way to do things. You can reach people, and you can reach people with your ex-JW activism through emails. Now, you can measure a portion of your quote-unquote success here with something called Mail Tracker. And Mail Tracker is an app for your email that helps you track opening rates, and it also helps you to track click-through rates. And click-through means if you have a link in your email, it measures how many times, if any, that person has clicked that link to see whatever it is you're talking about. Okay, so that's something there. So when someone says, "Well, your activism is not effective. I don't think what you're doing is working," you can just smile and let them have their say because you already know the deal. You can go right back into your stats through Mail Tracker, and you can see your opening rate and your click-through rate. And you can also go in your history and see how many emails you've sent out, and you're going to see just how effective you are. And then from there, you just keep tweaking your system. It doesn't have to be rocket science. Somebody's already figured it out. You just got to do your homework, and it doesn't have to be hours and hours and hours of research. Don't let the word research scare you. What you can find in 10 or 15 minutes here and there, it's going to add up, and you're going to be badass. I'm here to tell you. You get these books, I don't care if you don't really like to read, just turn the pages over and over, slowly, not fast, okay? Turn the pages over and over. I don't care if you're dyslexic. I don't care if you're dyslexic with glaucoma and a glass eye. Turn the book upside down. Yes, I said upside down. Yes. The whole point is not to read it. Okay? You're going to absorb it implicitly and turn the pages slowly. Just turn the pages, relax. Okay? Let the book talk to you. I'm serious. No, you're not going to hear voices, okay? It's nothing crazy like that, all right? It's just a different way of absorbing information. It's not just through visuals. There's a book called Photo Reading by Paul Sheely, all right? I know I've mentioned it on a lot of live streams and videos, but if you want to get that book too, it's going to teach you how to absorb these books in about 45 minutes with up to 70% comprehension. And yes, if you want to read, you can still read. You read different pieces, parts that you're drawn to. Open the book up to a certain page and then just kind of read and try to connect the dots. Connect the dots with what you already know. And it's a good sign if you're confused. You say, what? That's a good sign? Yes. Because right before illumination, right before the aha moment, right before it clicks, there's confusion or chaos. Because your mind is trying to wrap itself around some new info. and you're stretching. It's like exercising and working out. It's a little painful. It's a good kind of pain, though. It's not a damaging, injurious pain. All right. And this is the same way. So if you end up being, like, well, I don't know, I doubt you're going to have it. I think you're going to look at this and you're going to be like, oh, yeah, whoa, really? Oh, okay, all right. Because it's all about looking for patterns and connecting the dots with what you already know and what you're already doing. That's it. So, there was something else I wanted to say about, I forgot. Anyway. We have 4 viewers, and let's see. Who's in the live chat? We've got King of Faders, Wide Awake. Hi there, how are you doing? And we've got Virales.tv. That's a cool little smiley face. It's upside down. And Lally Silva. Hello there. And Southern Boss Lady. All right. So, Mott Floyd, how you doing, man? And Sarah Pettigrew and Evil Candy. All right. So, I was going to talk to you about another way to do activism besides the email blast, and it was Twitter. There's a lot of people on Twitter, and Twitter is really great because you can search for other people that are interested in your particular activism. Like if your focus is on the child abuse within the Jehovah's Witnesses, you can go on Twitter and hashtag child abuse. Search hashtag, and the hashtag is the number sign, which is right above the number 3 on your keyboard. It's a number sign, or in music you would call it a sharp, and you can use that and put that in front of a word, a keyword. So for example, the keyword would be child abuse. Okay, so you write child abuse together with that hashtag in front of it. You put that into the Twitter search box, and you're going to see all kinds of people that have tweeted a message with that hashtag. And from there, you can see other people that might be activists that you could connect to, that that might retweet your message. And a lot of people will retweet different kinds of tweets that you have. And so you might have 1,000 followers, someone else might have 3 million. So when they retweet your stuff on their Twitter, followers are able to access that and see that. And that's how the brilliant thing about Twitter is that you can reach millions of people in a very short period of time. And Twitter also has analytics that let you see how many impressions your tweets have, how many eyes impressions, how many people have seen it. If you have 50 impressions on a tweet, that means 50 people have seen it. Next, it can tell you how many clicks that tweet has. So if you have 50 eyes that have seen it and you have 2 clicks, that's a pretty good click-through rate. Okay? It's pretty good click-through rate. You can also see engagements, which means that I don't really know what Twitter engagement means. See, I'm still learning this stuff too. But nonetheless, you can see some kind of numbers and stats. And you can also see how many people have seen your tweets in total. And from there, it's easy to rack up 10,000 impressions on your tweets. It's really easy in a month's time if you do some twittering here and there, Now, put that aside. You can also use Twitter for improving your job skills or your career skills, no matter what career you're in. Once again, you can take that hashtag. Let's say you are a graphic artist. You can take hashtag graphic artist for starters and search for people that have tweeted something with that hashtag graphic artist to either connect to other peers or colleagues, to compare notes in the industry, right? To stay on top of your industry, on top of the graphic arts industry, because a lot of major trade journals are on Twitter and they are tweeting their articles and resources on Twitter. So it's really a great tool to stay on top of your industry, whether you're out in business for yourself or you're working as an employee. And it's a great way to also search out, if you're on the lookout for a better employer. You know, maybe you're not happy where you're at or whatever. You know, it's a great way to sniff out prospects, right? So, and also with the hashtags, when you see people who have tweeted with that hashtag, they might have other hashtags that are similar or related to the subject that you're interested in or looking for. So you can also get ideas from other people for other new hashtags, and you know, then you put those in, and you can see more people with other hashtags, and it can be a never-ending thing. You can get lost in that just in Twitter alone. It's a really great way to for career, for business. I don't know if Twitter is good for personal, other than if you were looking for like information on how to improve relationships, maybe self-improvement, you know, cognitive behavior therapy or something like that. Once again, start with the keywords in your head, you know, hashtag them on Twitter in the Twitter search box, and see what you come up with. So that's one way to do it. Another way to do activism is to go on LinkedIn. And I don't advise you to necessarily, you know, post the same kinds of posts on LinkedIn. More or less, what telling you to look for is, for example, if you're looking to preach, not preach, but if you're looking to make Jehovah's Witnesses aware, they are all over LinkedIn. And Denise Hedberg is one of the people that came up with this brilliant idea. This is not anything of my own. This is from Denise. She's the one that is the brilliant one in this one. So I want to give that some space again. And basically, what she's found out, excuse me, I want to take a drink of water here. So Denise Hedberg has found out that there are a gazillion Jehovah's Witnesses on Twitter. Now, I've gone on there, I've checked out what she said, and it is true. I've verified, and there are a ton. And once you set up your Okay, I'm not telling you to do this. I'm just giving you the information, okay? What you do with the information is only for entertainment purposes, all right?
This is only for entertainment purposes, honey. Okay, so I want to talk in this crazy voice because, like I said, I don't want to get in trouble. But what you can do, you can go on Twitter, honey, and you can you can make a decoy profile, honey, and hmm, when you go on there and put your job, you can put jw.org, honey, and after that, honey, you can set your profile up to make it look like a Jehovah Witness, boo, and then, honey, what you have, all of a sudden, boo, you're gonna be having all kinds of friends requests from all kinds of Jehovah Witnesses, boo. It's gonna be so many, like 30, 40 a day, honey, and you can go in there, honey, and message them, honey, and tell them everything about the Australian Royal Commission, honey, and they get mad, and that's all right, boo. You already done sent it to them. They ain't gonna be able to unblock it. Boo, they can unblock you, but the attachment is gonna stay in the archive, boo. So yeah, honey.
All right, so yeah, had to do that because I don't want to be on record found to be telling people to do something that is not legitimate, okay? So this is only for entertainment purposes. But if, let's say, you were to do that, you would set your job category as jw.org, and they have groups in there. They have groups of Jehovah's. And what they do is once you're in the network, once you get a couple of them, you're going to have a flood of them to keep wanting to add you over almost every day. It's like as long as you're a Jehovah's Witness, as long as you work for jw.org, you're in there. And this is for those who want to do activism towards JWs. I don't message any of those JWs because, like I said, I'm not really into that. That's not my thing. I'm not looking to change anybody. It's hard enough to change myself, and I have I have plenty to do with that in that department. So I don't really have the interest to change anyone else, even though I do have a problem with the two witness rule. But I'm not working from that angle. I'm working from the public's angle. So for those people who do want to reach out to Jehovah's Witnesses, you can do so on LinkedIn. And like I said, once you get a couple of them to add you, you're going to have so many flood to you, and they're going to be from all over. I have a lot of people from Nigeria I want to add. Uh, there are from the Philippines, a lot of people from Ghana. Did I say Philippines? Yeah. And you have some people from the U.S. too now. So that's there too. So yeah, I think I've just about covered everything here. The LinkedIn, Twitter, hashtags. Oh, I was going to tell you about YouTube. Yes. All right, look, I'm going to cover this real quickly. A lot of us have YouTubes, but how many of us are clicking go into your analytics? How many of us are going into the analytics? Go click at the top right, go to your YouTube page, your main YouTube page, where your icon is at the top, very top right. You're going to click that, and then you're going to click Creator Studio. Okay, and once that comes up, on the left hand side, you're going to see Creator Studio. Underneath it, you're going to see Dashboard, Video Manager, Live Streaming, Community, Channel, and underneath Channel, you're going to see Analytics. Let's click that. I'm actually doing it as I'm telling you to do it, okay? So while it's loading, all right, there is a ton of information here. There's a ton of numbers. The first thing you're going to see is the word overview. This means it's the big picture. And underneath your icon, it will tell you the time span. For example, on mine, it's going to tell me this is what's going on the last 28 days. But you can change that. You go to the upper right hand corner underneath where it says comparison groups export, and you can click that tab and you can choose a lifetime where you can see all of since the channel was created. You can see the last week, last 7 days, the first 7 days, the last 30 days, the last 90 days, the first 90 days, and a ton of other options, okay? And all of these different views are important. You don't want to get stuck on just looking at the last 28 days because that's going to give you a different picture of your effectiveness than the last 90 days. And a lifetime view, a lifetime view is important. You want to look at what your channel has accomplished and what the numbers are over the lifetime of the channel. Okay? So that's important. All right, you want to look at watch time. How many minutes in total? Okay, you want to look at the average view duration. This is important. What is the average view duration? Now, over here, right now, for the last 28 days on mine, it says 5 minutes. And then I see in smaller print, it says minus 2.13% compared to previous periods, September 25th, 2017 through October 22, 2017. All right, so this is important here because it's a decline of the average view duration. So what does that mean? Okay, and is 5 minutes good? Is it bad? What does that mean? So these are questions you're going to start asking yourself. And it doesn't mean you necessarily will have the answer right away, but it's designed to get you to think a different way, to be more effective so that when you use these mental models, you can have these things in the back of your head when you're working your videos and when you are doing your activism and when you're taking it further into other areas of your life, okay? So these are just a couple of examples. There's a ton of other information here. You know, you've got the likes, the dislikes, the comments, the shares, the videos and playlists, subscribers, and you're going to see all kinds of interesting information here that you didn't know of before. And from there, you want to keep asking yourself is how can I tweak it? How can I make this better? And what caused this? How come this went down by 2.1% in the last 28 days? Is there a reason? And why? Sometimes, you know, it could be a number of things. Like, for example, it could be seasonal, okay? It could be environmental influences. Like, I noticed when the Russia ban thing was really hot, whenever I put Russia ban in my title, I tended to get more visitors and more views, okay? Whenever I addressed the subject of the Russia ban and put that in my title, I got more views. I also notice that I get the most views from public videos of talking to people at the carts or at the bus stops, or you know, I haven't crashed to Kingdom Hall, but I imagine that I would get a lot of views because I've noticed there's a pattern of viewership increasing tremendously when I have videoed the Jehovah's Witnesses coming to me at the bus stops or when I go to them at the carts. So I know most likely if I do a video like that, I'm going to have a lot of views. Okay, right off the bat. And that's the information I've pulled from my analytics, you see? So go into your analytics and figure out what you're doing that's working and figure out what's not working. Try to figure out as best as you can. And like I said, you're going to have some uncertainty there. You're going to have to be okay with ambiguity to a point. You're going to have, but then you don't want to just throw it all out and say, well, you know, okay, I'm fine. I don't care. I don't want to know. You know, the middle pillar, the middle balance. Okay, but you're gonna find out so many cool things here. You can also find out keywords. You're going to go into traffic sources. It's right on the left-hand side. Under analytics, you have overview, real-time revenue reports, revenue ad rates, watch time reports, audience retention, demographics, playback locations. Yeah, it'll tell you if your stuff has played back on a cell phone or on a pad or on a computer, on a desktop or a laptop. And right under playback locations, you're going to go into traffic sources. And here you can find out all kinds of interesting things. Scroll down. You're most likely going to see a graph. Underneath the graph, you're going to see traffic source. You're going to see suggested videos, browse features, YouTube search. Click YouTube search, okay? And it's going to load up all of the keywords that people have put into the YouTube search to get to that ended up at your videos. So for example, the first one at the top of this list here in my YouTube is Jehovah's Witnesses. Surprise, surprise. All right, so Jehovah's Witnesses, and it says watch time 281 minutes, 47 views, average view duration 5 minutes and 58 seconds, average percentage viewed 36%. Okay. Surprisingly, the next one is photo reading. So some of the ex-JWs or JWs or somebody listening to the videos here is actually YouTube searching photo reading to get to the videos here. So that's really interesting. Watch time 189 minutes, 50 views, and so forth and so on. So these keywords are important because you're going to look at this and you're going to study what people are searching for the most. And some of these keywords are going to give you ideas. You're going to put these in your titles for your new videos. You see? Does that make sense to you? because this is what people are these are the words that they're using to get to you. So then you want to get more of those people, because you might be missing out on them. So you can use these keywords in your titles. Now, another thing down here, I have Australian Royal Commission Jehovah's Witness. Let's see, I have Royal Commission Jehovah's Witnesses. I have Jehovah's Witnesses with no apostrophe. I have JW pedophiles. Check your analytics and see if you have some of these keywords, and let's compare some notes. I have Trey Bundy Jehovah's Witness, JW pedophile with no S, singular, JWs and pedophilia Ontario. That's very interesting. Warwick protest. Now, check and see if in your YouTube searches, in your keywords, if Warwick protest is a keyword. You see, and no surprise that I have Warwick protest in the title of the live stream. All right, so hey Mia T, what's up? Bob, do you want a co-host? Hello, Mia. I was getting ready to close out, but I do appreciate the offer. I'm so thankful that you're here, but I'm about ready to close out. Yeah. So I appreciate everybody coming here. 411 Big Boss, Virales.tv, King of Faders, Wide Awake, Southern Boss Lady, Mott Floyd. Who else? Trisha Faringa. What else did we have? Let me scroll back. We had Apostate Mom. Oh my goodness, I missed so many great people. Southern Boss Lady, Evil Candy, Sarah Pettigrew, and Penelope Devereaux. And did we get it? Mount Floyd, Susan Lowell, and
Babe, I think that's everybody, honey. Okay, honey. Well, bye-bye, honey. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in.
all right. Bye, everyone. Thanks. And I guess I'll play some exit music. It's not gonna be Kingdom Hearts stuff, but